Hello there, everybody. This is Alex from Hardcore Guides, bringing my guide for Dead Space 2 on Zealot difficulty. Today we're doing Chapter 8, entitled Through the CEC. And this is going to be potentially, if not the only one, I'm not really certain, I don't remember that far back in terms of my other videos I've done. But I think this is probably going to be like the shortest chapter we've done so far, and maybe even possibly the shortest chapter we're going to have to end up doing anyway. I'm not 100% sure. But, yes, this one's a pretty okay one. You eventually just go through some electric currents, and I think that's what the CEC stands for, something like electric current, electric core. I don't remember, to be fair. So that's that. What's funny is I just now got done editing, like, Chapter 9, and I had, like, a whole spree of just talking about RPGs and doing hard mode of them. And it kind of sucks, because, like, you know, that would have been great commentary for the videos, but... well, I kind of forgot most of that. And plus, since we're doing a video now, I don't have time to really talk about just whatever I want. This part right here is really, really difficult to do because there's so many guys that spawn in one, like almost like a split second. So the first thing I do is I run in here, I pick up one of those impalement spikes there, and I just go for the elite guy in the corner back there that you saw. After that, demolish the next two guys that spawn in from behind you. After you've killed them quick enough, definitely use stasis, by the way. Definitely use stasis. After you've killed those two asswipes, then come back, then kill the next elite guy, and then just make your way. You can use, the impalements, if you wanted to. I would say just use it on the first guy. Just at least get some decent bit of damage on him. And if you're quick enough, you could probably use it on the base slasher. But when it comes to elite slashers, or even elite enemies in general, impalements and spikes and what have you are just not going to be very incredibly useful. They're good for knocking down the opponent more so than they are for just sticking them on a wall. They're more like a damage thing, if anything, to be honest with you. So something that you'll come to kind of notice about Dead Space 2 a lot. Also, here's what I do against, little spawner guys. I just either blast them with a stasis and run up a melee, or I blast them with a grenade launcher. It's usually one of the two. But yeah, the common pattern with Dead Space 2 enemy spawns is that you'll run into a room, and then you'll fight off an enemy, and the next thing you know, there'll be one behind you. That seems to be the case with Dead Space 2 a lot, especially in the later part of the game. So just keep that in mind and try to remember, like, okay, if I see a guy, there's potentially another one behind me, especially if you're in a small room, then there's usually a pretty good chance that they'll be right behind you after that. Also, while editing these videos, I think it's chapter 9 that actually had the stalker area that I was talking about, that had the exploding guy and the pod spawner. And I got that confused with, I think, like chapter, I don't remember, 6, 7, whichever chapter it was, where you fight stalkers again in that small room with the landmines. That was pretty early on. Oh yeah, this is a pretty fun room. I remember this room, actually, now that I think about it. It's been a while since I actually watched this particular video, so yeah. So, coming into here, they're going to set off these things. It's going to try to scare you, but enemies are going to spawn. There's going to be one that usually comes from, I think, typically this area, or that vent right there. This slasher right here usually climbs up that specific fence, so just keep an eye out for that, and there's always a puker near the bench, too. So, when you know where the enemies are going to spawn at, that's what makes this part easier. I'd recommend going for the elite first, as fast as you can. And if the puker hasn't spawned yet, because I think he spawns usually after the first, like, elite slasher spawns, or I think he spawns probably during when the slasher climbs up the fence, I believe so. So just try to prioritize which ones are going for first. I would say run up there, stasis, or just break off the guy's legs, the elite guy, and then turn around and then run back a bit to avoid the slasher trying to attack you, and also potentially avoid maybe the puker puking on you. Now, if you're at a distance, of course, pukers can't really do damage. They can do slowdown, but they can't actually do damage at a distance, or at least enough damage to really mean much. So that's something else to kind of keep in mind as well. Also, time for zero gravity. I think I mentioned this in a previous video before, but I prefer zero gravity in Dead Space 2 than I do Dead Space 1. I think most people kind of think that same way. But yeah, since I have time to talk about it, I guess I can talk about my little topic that I was having a strange, singular person discussion with. And it's basically, I was talking about doing like Persona on this channel, or even like, versus doing SMT and on hard and stuff, because I feel like when it comes to like Persona games on hard, you have the calendar system to worry about. Like everything else probably might not be too extremely difficult, but it's more so like the calendar system. Like you can't theoretically grind, because in a lot of RPGs, like the way to mitigate difficulty in those games is usually to grind. Because I was also talking about like, what if I did Kakarot, because that has a hard mode. Oh yeah, there's a couple of lurkers that spawn in here. I think there's like 2, maybe 3 of them. So just keep your eyes out for them. Watch out for them. They're easy enough to kill, If you got Plasma Cutter with decent enough damage, you could knock off a good amount of damage from their tentacles. And then you also have Stasis Module down here that you can use if you need to use Stasis at any point to not only just gain access to going through that, but taking down the lurkers. Yeah, lurker number 2 right here. So, yeah, 2 and 3. There you go. Just watch out for them. But anyway, I was talking about, like, what if I did Kakarot, like, on hard, but the thing with Kakarot on hard, though, is, again, the only way to really mitigate damage is just to level up and just level up your stuff. And you just become stronger, and then you win. That's not necessarily the case for, like, when you get to, like, Beerus and stuff, because he does become quite difficult. But still, it's usually a pretty common RPG type thing, is just level up, grind, and get stronger. It depends on how far in the RPG you're going. Oh, there's number 4, I guess. If you're going to, like, in-game and, like, extra stuff, number 5. There's a 5th one. If you're doing, like, in-game, like, extra content, then, there's a possibility that those guys will be way stronger even at level 99. But you get the idea. So I was thinking, like, if I was to ever do Persona, it would be kind of difficult to do it because of the fact the calendar system is a thing. I'm not saying that I'm going to, try to, I don't know, worm my way out of doing it. Wormy. I'm not going to, try to escape from doing it or wanting to do it. It's just that, I don't know, well, maybe one day I'll try it. But then, like, I was talking about, like, SMT, Nocturne kind of has the RPG mechanic of, well, that's one of my favorite SMT. It has the hard difficulty mechanic of just, like, grind to get better, and then you could just beat it that way. Also, this is pretty much just like the end of the chapter. You're just going through here. I don't remember if going through the Rings of Fire, like, if you're going through the straight middle of them, affects you or not. My brain tells me they do, and I just avoid it outright. Shooting down the pod guy is simple. You just, whenever he shoots out the tentacle things at you, that or those little creatures that come at you, you just fast dodge. You just, hold down the sprint and you dodge them. They're usually not that tough to beat. Yeah, watch out for the fire, by the way. I wanted to check to see if that worked, and it did. And then I think, like, I had a split-second thought of, like, it's probably going to work. Why would I do that? And I still got hit by it. So, yeah. Easy enough chapter. Really, really damn short. And I think that should, theoretically, I think, be all of it. I don't think there's any more enemies that spawn as of right now for the rest of the video. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And oh, there is one more guy, just a random stalker that's crawling. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, take care, everybody, I guess, because that's the end of the video. See ya.